All right, who we got here?
Be Real, Be Funny, Oakland, California.
Right. Hey, brother Butch. How you feel about the bullying situation we got going on, not just here, but sort of like everywhere? You know,
I think bullying is a topic that has something to do with life and kids that I think is something that really needs to be addressed. It's a part of an upbringing, it's a part of growing up. I don't think it's right, but it's a part of every kid. It's like they don't really understand what they're doing. I think as far as the bullying thing, I think like the parents need to get more involved, and whether it's somebody bullying or whether somebody being bullied, I think that both of the parents on each side should get involved to give them a clear understanding of what they're doing is not right, it's wrong.
Have you ever bullied or have you ever been bullied? You know, coming up through school, through the hood?
Yeah, growing up, especially in Oakland, I was bullied a lot, and but I think it was more of me being a bully myself, and it got to the point to where I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was actually, hurting kids and hurting people that that I considered my friend.
Right.
And I didn't really understand what I was doing until somebody started bullying on me, and it just basically opened up my eyes to get me to understand that what I was doing was wrong as a child. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we go to this last question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to the people that's out there bullying and the people that's being bullied? What advice would you give them?
My advice to ones that's out there bullying, just you got to put yourself in the person's shoes that you're actually bullying on. Would you want somebody beating up on you, taking something that somebody gave you, or taking something that's rightfully yours, or belittling you as a person, and making you feel humiliated in front of people, making you want to commit suicide, and the whole nine. I just feel that that they should look at the other person as if they look at themselves. It's all like a love thing, man. It's like if you can respect and love the other person just as much as you respect and love yourself, then you understand that you're not supposed to do those type of things. But as far as if you bullying, man, I think you need to really stop doing it, because what happens is you continue to bully somebody. You're either gonna make them commit suicide, you're gonna make them want to hurt themselves, or they're gonna probably hurt you.
Right.
So I think that's something that needs to be stopped, man. And I think parents need to start getting more involved with their kids, because it's all a part of upbringing. The kids' minds is like a hard drive. Whatever's installed in their mind, that's what they're gonna go off of. You know what I'm saying? So it's all home upcoming upbringing. And the ones that's being bullied, I say the same thing. Talk to your parents and get the parents involved, so it can be some more mature, grown-ups getting involved, and then y'all might end up being the best and closest friends if y'all get to understand each other. But if you just around here just going around and hurting people and bullying on people, it's gonna end up coming back to you sooner or later, and you don't want that. So I think you should stop.
Hey, Butch, that was well said, man. I appreciate that, man. And hopefully when these youngsters, as well as the OGs, see this, hopefully they'll hug themselves first, and then hug somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
And then if it don't stop, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to grow up with that same mentality from a kid, from junior high, high school, to being an adult, thinking you can go around and bully on people, and that's when it gets serious. Ain't too many people going to allow you as a grown man to allow another grown man or a grown woman to bully on.
Wow.
So that's when things get serious. That's when it start getting life-threatening. So I figure that it's something that needs to be addressed as kids. The parents need to get involved.
And Butch, we done seen it way too many times where cats done bullied, and they come up missing.
Exactly.
They come up missing. So you folks out there, man, take heed, man. It's real in these streets, man. And it's just not here. It's not just here. It's everywhere.
Exactly.
We need to stop it. And Butch, any shouts out, man?
Oh man, shout out to Big Dre for doing this. It's important. I think people need to see this. I think we need to get more people involved. We need to put these guns down. We need to start getting back in the way of life of how things used to be when we was a kid. Now, for some strange reason, it's like kids is raising kids, and just the level, the mind state is just like on a, it's like on a kid level, man. It's like, you know, like when I was young, my lifespan, they said it was 25. Now it's like 16, 17, man. So you basically got to start getting on your kids at the age of like 5 or 6 now, man.
Exactly.
It's like this. It's like they're being cheated out their childhood. They don't know no better. So it's like I say, parents need to start getting more involved. And, you know, man, God bless y'all all, man. Ain't nobody perfect but God, but you know, try to live your life as perfect as possible.
Butch, I want to thank you for that. That was well put, man.
Right?
Much love. Hey, who we got here?
Hussein.
All right, Hussein, I got questions for you, man, about the bullying. How do you feel about the bullying that's going on here in Oakland, and not just here but everywhere?
Yeah, it ain't right, because if someone was to do it to them, then they'll understand. So I feel that bullying shouldn't be allowed, because it jeopardizes the person. And in fact, if you do so much to a person and they take so much in, vice versa, they might do you and take you out this world before you know it. So why bother somebody that shouldn't even be bothered for who they are, what they are, or whatever they want to become?
All right. Now, the other question would be, have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your school years?
Yeah, I've been bullied as a kid when I grew up on 11th Ave, East 24th, when I went to the school named Bella Vista. There was a couple of kids that was big and buff, a little taller than me, and me and my brothers were just getting kicked on for about a year till this one person that knew my mom from my mom's store, and he saw them doing it to us, so he came out and grabbed his whatever and slapped the hell out of them a few times and told them, "Do you know who kid these are?" They said, "Yeah, them Saleh kids, so don't bother them no more," after he slapped them around. So that showed them not to bully nobody no more.
Okay. What about, you've been bullied. Have you ever bullied anyone?
I think so, by words, the way I talk to certain people at time to time. But I'll probably come around and run into that person and say, "Hey, it wasn't like that," because I finally noticed what I did wrong. I said wrong to that person. So eventually, you know what's right and wrong. So it takes a grown person, as a man or a woman, to confront themselves before being confronted, because it eats things off, and then you wonder, you'll have longevity for life. You'll be going instead of excelling to a different, state of mind where you won't have nothing. So
Okay,
what
now
comes
that,
around goes around.
okay, now that brings us to the final question. What advice would you give to the people that's bullying people, and at the same time the people that's being bullied? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, for the ones that's bullying, I advise them to stop bullying people, because it ain't doing them no good. Now, if it was a fight that they had to go and they was getting paid for it, then I could respect that, because they working to get something out of it and they showing fans or whatever. But then again, it's not right for them to bully. So they need to stop it, point blank, period, before something bad happens bad to them. And then the people that's getting bullied, if you feel that someone is always bullying you constant, let someone see if you got a camera phone. We on high-tech land now, and record it. Record, do whatever you got to do to protect yourself. And when you got to do an arrest, or you call the police, or you call, because your life is being jeopardized, and then you're not living the life you want, because you're always fearing something that's in your way, and it shouldn't even be there, because that person chooses to be stupid and bother you because he not going nowhere and you moving up in the world. So it is stressful for one to get bullied, but like I said, if you are getting bullied, get the help they got out there, call the police, call whoever, and take care of it. Let somebody know so it can't stop. And if you don't, then eventually it'll keep going, and then you're going to render yourself into more confusion, and you might do something you don't want to do. And then you be the person behind bars. So put that person in bars before you go. So, and then you'll have a better life, and you'll probably be happy when you notice that person is out your way. And that's a good thing, but then he'll learn as he do his time or whatever may be the situation, and say, "Hey, I'm stupid. Why did I do that? I just did 2 years because I pushed this fool around, and that didn't do me no judgment. Now I'm facing judgment." So That's about it, you know.
Zane, I want to thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, you
Any
welcome, bro.
shouts out?
Hey, much love to everybody in the world, man. We all one if we really look at it. Just stay positive and it don't hurt to smile. We just make it a better world for you and us and whoever it may be, because there's just too much going on, man. There's just too much going on.
That was well said, Zane. I want to thank you for your time, bro.
For sure, baby.
It's always good seeing you.
Always, baby. I love you too, man.
Love you too, bro.
All right, man.
Hey. All right, I'm up here with my OG partner, Big Vern. What's up, Big Vern?
Oh, it's all good. First of all, I like to say to the kids something that we used to say when we was young is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. In other words, don't let nobody tell you who you are. You're supposed to know who you are. You are what God made you. So don't never be ashamed of that. No matter what you look like or, what your financial situation, don't never let nobody make you feel bad about who you are, because that's who you are. That's how God made you.
All right, I got a question for you. Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your childhood?
Well, when I was coming up, everybody was bullied. It was like a fact of life. If somebody was older than you, they was going to try to shake you down for a nickel or a dime or whatever. But if they bullied you and they kind of beat you up, you wouldn't got somebody bigger than them or as big as them from your family, your big brother, your cousin, or whatever to handle that for you. That's how it was. But now, with this internet, you got people lying about you and telling the whole world about you, which is not really, bullying wasn't supposed to, bullying started out as teasing. And then it starts into bullying. And then when people get older, then bullying turns into punking. And then when these youngsters try to punk each other, that's why you hear about them shooting each other. It could be something as simple as somebody trying to bully or punk somebody. And then it can really escalate, so it's not good for anybody to get into that habit of thinking they can make somebody do something they want them to do. I remember when I was young, we had a neighborhood bully, and we were at the boys club in San Francisco, where 280 is now, used to be a swamp down by San Bruno. It was a raft down there. We used to go down there and play on the raft in the daytime, but he asked us to go down there at night. And two of my friends went down there and he pushed him in the water. And one of them drowned, and they never even found his body. And I was 8 years old, and that let me know, especially don't trust nobody that's a bully to tell you, come go with me. Even if you have to get beat up, don't go. If you have to run or tell somebody, don't go nowhere with no bully, because you don't know where he's taking you, what he might have planned for you. It might just seem like a prank, but it can end up somebody getting killed.
Now, for your advice to the people out there bullying and the people that's being bullied, what advice would you give them?
My advice to the people bullying is, like I said, don't get into that habit. That's a bad habit, of trying to push people around and trying to take people's stuff, because eventually you go meet your match, and it might not be nice. For the people being bullied, learn how to protect yourself. Don't be scared to get your butt whipped, because your mama whoop your butt and you ain't scared, and you still do wrong. So don't be scared to stand up to nobody. Everybody gets a butt whipping every now and then. So don't make nobody do something stupid, make you do something stupid because you're scared of getting your butt whipped, is what I'm saying. It's safer to get your butt whipped and stay out of trouble than it is to get do what somebody say and really get in big trouble. A lot of people's in jail behind that, doing what somebody else told them to do, what somebody else wanted them to do.
All right, OG Vern, that was well put. Any shouts out you want to go to somebody? You want to give a shout out?
No, not really. I just want to tell these youngsters, learn how to protect yourself so you don't have to be bullied.
Right. Okay. Vern, that was well put, man. I appreciate that. And like I say at the end of most of these interviews, hopefully the ones that's bullying and the one that's being bullied, hopefully they'll look at this and, they'll see, hey, it's not cool. For the ones that's doing the bullying, it's not cool. It's not. and the ones that's being bullied, hey, it's always somebody you could talk to. Always. You don't have to lose your life. You don't have to take another life. Just tell somebody. Talk to somebody.
Just tell an adult, to tell your parents, tell your older brothers and sisters, tell your older cousins. Tell somebody, try to give you some help and tell them to get them people off you.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot, Vern. I appreciate it.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right.
Okay, who do we have here?
Ken Win.
Ken Win, what's going on? Our subject today is bullying. Where are we, by the way?
We are at the Dimensional Outlet Store.
And where are you located?
It's in West Oakland, corner of 30 and San Pablo.
All right, all right. Okay, our first question is, how do you feel about the bullying situation that's not just here, but it's going on everywhere?
Well, it's happened every day with the small guy or with a shy guy or shy person. So I feel it's really it's hurt everybody with it's on the street or in school. But again, I have myself too. So.
Okay, now this goes to our second and third question. Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up in your childhood?
Well, I have been bullied, but I haven't bullied everybody.
Oh, okay.
In school, most likely in the school.
Okay. So this goes to our last and final question. What advice would you give to the people that's out there being bullied, and also the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give them?
Well, first you try to ignore from those people. Don't get close to them or get along to them. And well, advice is you have to protect yourself somehow, some way. But if you've been bullied or will be, just let the school know or adult know about it. And don't try to get involved or do anything negative about it. Do something positive and keep it up.
Okay. Now, as far as the people that's doing the bullying, what advice would you give them?
Well, just really simple. Go around, come around.
Couldn't have put that no better. All right, Mr. Ken, I appreciate you for the time. And hopefully when the people get aboard of this here, hopefully for the ones that's getting bullied, they'll reach out to someone and seek help. And the ones that's doing the bullying, hopefully they'll think twice about it and just let it go.
I hope so.
Any shouts out you want to give, Ken?
No, none at all.
Okay. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome, sir.
Bullying? Oh, are y'all bullies? Y'all bully folks? No? Oh, okay. You a good one? Okay, okay. Uh-oh, she looked like a bully. Okay. Okay, what's up? So y'all here to shoot, are y'all going to be a part of the video? Yep. Yeah? Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, what about you? What are you here for?
Just to help out.
Okay, okay. All right. How do you feel about bullying?
It's unnecessary.
Bless you. Have you ever been bullied?
No.
Coming up throughout your years, you never bullied?
No.
Never been bullied? What advice would you give people that's out there doing the bullying and the ones that's getting bullied? What advice would you give them? Would you give the people that's been bullied and also the people that's bullying? What advice would you give them?
It's not nice, not cool.
Yeah, it's not.
Mom's just like,
I'm laughing at her.
So
Mom's
that's-
gonna be on camera in a minute.
yeah, you next. I'm coming over here. Yeah.
Yeah, get this.
No, after you give them bullies the advice, what about the ones that's bullying? What advice would you give them?
Don't be a bully.
Okay.
That's the advice.
Any shouts out? Where are we? Where are we at? Huh?
She can't hear you.
Say, where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah, where are you?
What are you doing?
Are we in Sacramento?
Yes, we are in Sacramento.
Oh, okay, okay, Sacramento, California. Okay.
The Thomas area.
Oh, okay. All right, moving along. Hey,
What's here? Middle school.
yeah, how you doing, young lady?
I'm all right, sir.
And how do you feel about bullying?
How do I feel about bullying? Well, I don't think bullying is cool. Everybody has a right to be a human being and be themselves, so why bully people?
Exactly. Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your childhood?
I've been bullied before, but I've never not bullied nobody, no.
Okay. What advice would you give to the people that's out there bullying and the ones that's getting bullied? What advice would you give them?
The ones that are getting bullied, I would say defend yourself. Try your best to defend yourself at any cost, but make sure you do it to where you won't get into too much trouble. And the ones that are bullying, I want to tell them to have 7 seats.
Right. Any shouts out?
Shout out to my mama in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead. Come on, give some shouts. Come on, give some shout out.
Shout out to myself.
All right, okay. Moving along, this one, she's always running. Every time we she gave her interview, she's always running.
Camera ready.
Oh, yes. How do you feel about bullying?
How do I feel about bullying? All I can say is that bullying is just not right. You know, it's not right for one person to try to bully somebody else and get them to do what they want them to do. Everybody should be able to work together and not segregate one another. So bullying is just not cool. That's it.
Okay, have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone in school coming up?
Actually, is this actually going on record?
Yeah.
Because I would like to say that I was bullied by you for the last 20 years. Now what?
And I apologize. I apologize.
No, in all seriousness. Actually, I was bullied one time in elementary school. I was bullied by a classmate, and it wasn't nothing nice. I didn't want to fight back. She, ended up, always bullying me every time I came into the class. But eventually, we grew up. She went her way, I went my way, and it was all good after that.
Okay, and you never bullied anyone?
No, I've never bullied anyone.
Now, what advice would you give to the people that's out there being bullied, and at the same time the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give them?
Well, for those that are out there bullying, I would say that you really need to stop it because you don't really realize what you're doing to the person that you're bullying. As far as those that are being bullied, I would say don't be silent about it. Go find a teacher, go find a police officer, go find an adult that you can go and talk to and try to get some help, because nobody should be bullied and nobody should be bullied.
Okay. Any shouts?
You gotta follow him. Who wants to follow him? Here.
Okay. Any shouts out?
Just a shout out to all my people, to my niece, Little Miss P, who's out there doing the bullying video. I think it's great. So all I can say is everybody live, love, and laugh as much as possible.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Okay, who do we have here?
What's happening, man? This is Mac Black, man, entertainer, videographer, man. I do everything, man. I do it all.
Mike Black, we have a lot of bullying going on here. What is your outlook on that?
Well, myself personally, I was bullied at a young age. And I just took on a love for, I guess you can call them like the not so strong, you know what I'm saying? So I never really believed in bullying. I'm more so I stick up for the bully, for the people who get bullied.
Okay. Now that would take me to the next question. And there's no need of me asking you if you've been bullied, but have you ever bullied anyone?
No, I've never been a bully myself. Like I say, when I was younger, when I was a kid in grade school, I used to get bullied a lot, you know what I'm saying, for different reasons. Skin color, name, I was always kind of awkward. I always did my own thing. And, it's easy to pick on somebody when they off doing their own thing, but they're not following the masses. So, yeah, I've been bullied, and I don't believe in bullying.
Now that brings us to our last question. What advice would you give the people that's being bullied as well as the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give them?
Well, for the people who are being bullied, I just want to say, be sure in yourself of who you are, and as long as you know who you are, it doesn't really matter what anybody says or what anybody picks on you about, because as long as you know the truth, then nothing can hurt you. And for those that are doing the bullying, I wouldn't, me myself personally, I wouldn't really be bullying if I was you, because those that you bully, you can turn around and you might need their help one day. So you might just want to extend a hand of friendship to each and everybody. So with me, it's about respect to everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are, your sex, your race, your creed. None of that matters when it comes to respect. Respect should be something that is given to everybody.
Black, that was well put. Before we sign off, you want to shout out anybody?
I want to shout out the whole M.E.P. camp. I want to shout out my dude Nacho. I want to shout out my Gorilla 8 family. I want to shout out Break the Bank. I want to shout out my dudes over there at Money Rich Entertainment, man. I want to shout out the whole. I want to give a shout out to the whole Oakland, because as a whole, as an art community, we doing making a lot of moves to now we being more noticed.
Right on. That was well said. Right on, Mac Black.
It looked like home.
Okay, here we are. Okay, we have 3 hard-working taxpayers here. I have a couple of questions for you. How do you feel about the bullying that's going on here, not just here, but everywhere?
I didn't do it.
Everywhere. I feel that everybody should know and should be able to get bullied, because nobody knows what people have been through in life or the situation they have grown up into, being in where they are now. So some people's life might be harder than others, some people's life might be easier than others, so no one should be bullying. Just think how you would feel if someone was to bully you and he was in their shoes.
I definitely think bullying is definitely wrong. It's our way of saying that somebody's different, and we should be celebrating our differences instead of picking on each other for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mean to be bullying. I have teenage girls that are going through it, so I can see the aspect how they're feeling going to high school and dealing with it. People need to walk in somebody else's shoes before they start saying stuff to people.
Next question. Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your childhood, through the school or whatnot?
Me personally, as a sports player, I have been bullied my freshman and sophomore year in high school, and as I got older, I started to bully people. I guess it's called locker room hazing. So personally, my opinion on it would probably be like everybody, especially on the team, like everybody has something going on with them, like I said before. And then when you're younger, it's more of a fun thing to do, like, oh, I'm empowered, I get to cheese somebody else and have fun with it. But at the same time, as they get older, like it did to me, it kind of ruins and messes people's heads up a little bit. So I'll say think about it before you do it, and at least try to, make the right decision instead of bullying them because you're older and want power. Think about how it can affect other kids. Like, great example, I don't know if you've heard about it yet, like that kid that in high school that killed all them people. There's probably all half them kids, and he probably been getting bullied his whole life, so he just outraged and killed everybody and stabbed a couple of teachers and children. So think how, by you bullying, how that can affect the person in the long run, and see what you can do to actually help them instead of bullying.
Okay.
That's right. I've had my share of bullying, just being smaller, not wanting to be picked on. I picked on people for their differences, mainly people who are overweight, because I wanted them to get healthier. And I thought by making fun of them that they would make the changes, but until one day somebody stepped up to me who was bigger than me that I was picking on, and they asked me politely to stop picking on them because it made them feel really bad, and they started to cry. And I started to see how, what I was saying was affecting them. And I thought that they would just see what I saw, just making fun and, not think nothing of it. So, I started to change. I started to just back off from people because I saw that, this person is just as tough as me. They just made a decision not to pick on people. So I think it was a really great experience for me, for somebody to be honest with me. I know a lot of people are positive and will leave people alone after hearing them speak from the heart. But I'm just a little bit more emotional, so I definitely took into consideration how I'm affecting this person's life.
Okay, now the last question would be, what advice would you give the people that's being bullied as well as the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give them?
The advice for the people that's being bullied, stay strong. it's something that you can control, you know, stand up. Personally, me, stand up to the person. You know, they're bullying you because they feel that you're weaker than them. So the moment you stand up to them, be like, hey, what you talking about? Or, hey, don't, you know what I mean, confront them about it. Let them know that you're not just someone they can keep on bullying. And 9 out of 10, they're going to stop bothering you. They just keep bothering you because they know you. They see the advantage that you have. They feel like, oh, he ain't going to do nothing, so let's keep on doing it. And the moment you step up to that human being, trust me, it happened. I have done it. They're going to leave you alone because they're scared of the people. They're trying to put up a show for their friends and show like, hey, I'm big and bad. But the moment you, hey, I'm big and bad too, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, leave him alone, man. So that's my word. The worst of people that's bullying, stop it. It actually makes you look kind of weak. It doesn't look like you're not, you know what I mean, like you're nobody. You don't have no type of morals for yourself. You don't treat people with respect, and you're not going to get the same respect back. So I say treat people with respect, and you're going to earn what you get. So.
That's right.
And karma, sorry to cut you off. And karma, trust me, it exists.
That's right.
That's right.
Like he said, karma exists. And my advice to people that are being bullied is let somebody know right away. Because some people take it to the next level, and you might end up hurting somebody, hurting yourself, or hurting the person that is actually just verbally being aggressive or physically. So I'd say immediately tell somebody, whether it be a best friend, family member, and then, you know, ask for advice, how, you know, he can get help. The best way is to open up about it, because there's alternatives that will be given. And sometimes when we're being bullied, we can't really think straight, so we're not thinking about the best alternatives. So definitely speaking on that is number one. Number two is definitely having some type of sit down. Don't feel bad about telling on somebody. You never know what they're going through. They might not have their parents. They have nothing to lose. So basically you want to definitely make sure you tell and have a sit down so that this person knows not to mess with you anymore, that you will tell and that you're recording it, so that way there's a record of this person abusing you. For the person that's, you know, the bullying, I definitely think, you know, I understand there's something going on at home. I used to bully, and I had things going on at home. So maybe you need to talk to somebody like a counselor and find out what it is that's making you feel so aggressive. And it might be neglect. It might be, you know, just not having. And there might be programs that might be able to help you get the things that you need that maybe your family can't provide. So definitely speaking up on your feelings. You might be being bullied at home, and you're putting the pressure on somebody else because you don't know what to do. So my advice is, whatever you're going through, to speak to somebody. And that hurting people, it doesn't do anything good for anybody. Not at all. There's proven facts that it doesn't work. So it's better to, and you're stronger when you can avoid confrontation and be closer to people that, you know, are living and understanding that they're human just like you.
I want to thank you both. And before we sign out, is there any shouts y'all want to give out to anyone?
You said shout out?
Shout outs?
No shout outs. I have a best friend named Deja Packard. You know, shout out to you. Hope you see this video. Shout out to the safety ambassador of Oakland downtown. You know, we're safety ambassadors. If you ever see us in the orange, you need an escort. If you ever getting bullied and need somebody to come stop the bullying. If you need any assistance to know where some places is in Oakland, feel free to come to us. We're down here from 12 to all the way to 9 o'clock at night.
I want to give a shout out to everybody, just anybody who's watching this, that you're doing something positive, you're making the steps that is proven, you know, towards your future to make a better you. So I want to give a shout out to you for checking this out and wanting to make a difference.
Okay, that was well said. How you young gentlemen and how you young ladies and gentlemen doing? Good. All right. Okay, we're on the subject of bullying. Have you, any of you ever been bullied before?
Yes.
Really? What happened, young lady?
Well, I couldn't make friends.
Uh-huh.
And if I made friends, they would say that they'll be my friend only if I give them my snap.
How did that make you feel?
Sad.
Sad. Did you talk to anyone about it?
No.
Who did you talk to?
Nobody.
Nobody? You just kept it in?
She actually kept it in for 4 years. Well, I would say 2 years. As a second grader, she was actually admitted in the hospital.
Oh, really?
In a mental hospital, because they said that she wanted to hurt herself, and I was a parent that volunteered up at the school, and I didn't even understand it because I'm there with her all the time. And when I was around, they wouldn't mess with her. But then when I wasn't around, it's like she would run to me crying and saying they don't want to be my friend, they don't want to play with me. She's had so many breakdowns. Right now, she's not even in school because of the torment. She got put on independent study.
Wow.
I mean, it's gotten so bad where kids have picked on her in class, and she'll run out of class, and just recently, the police handcuffed her hands and feet because she ran out of class.
To a cheer.
All
The
because
police?
she was being bullied in class.
And the police handcuffed her?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's like she's only 9, and she's had a rough, like 5 years since she's been in school.
So what is the principal, what are they doing
Their
about?
solution was put her on independent study. That's what their solution was.
So
Put her on independent study. And me, I got happy because of all the stuff we've been through with her, being admitted in a mental hospital 2 times. And, you know, the system don't help you. They want to come after you and say the parents are the problem.
Right, right.
In reality, she's been picked on ever since she was in kindergarten.
Wow.
So I seen in my own eyes, because like I said, I did 2 years at her school of helping. And then I stepped back because I was like, you guys need to do the job.
Right.
I can't be here stopping these kids, messing with my daughter and doing stuff like that. Y'all need to do it.
Exactly.
And I just realized, I mean, she's closed off. She doesn't know really how to make friends. She don't trust people. Like when they want to be friends with her, she don't know at what time they're going to turn on her.
Right, right.
So it's messed her up a lot. Her social skills are real bad. She doesn't know how to socialize with other kids really well. I'm still trying to work on it. I'm still trying to build her, but being bullied, it has an effect on kids.
Yes.
It has a serious effect.
And that's where you would think that the school will come in and you know, steer you in the right direction.
And saying, oh, we're going to stop bullying, but then the kids that are getting bullied are the ones labeled as bad.
Yes.
They're labeled as the troublemakers.
And it sounded like what they did was instead of addressing the problem, they sent it away.
They did.
You know, let her learn at home. That way we won't have to deal with it.
Yeah, because I think they got tired of me coming up there really upset. And I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I kind of, this last point of what they did to her, it pushed me over the edge.
Yes.
I didn't know how to cooperate with them. I didn't know how to talk to them. There was no communication no more.
Right, right.
When I'm on the phone and I'm at school and they're they didn't even tell me. My daughter, they put her on the phone and I'm trying to calm her down. And she said, Mommy, my hands are handcuffed. I lost it.
Wow.
I lost it. A 9-year-old being handcuffed for no reason but because she was running.
Exactly. You know, you should have called the media.
We're in the process of working because they said that they're going to be sued. But like I said, I can only go so far with them because then they come after you as a parent.
Right, right.
And then they want to label you and then say, oh, you're not doing your job.
Exactly, exactly. That's terrible. You know, hopefully someone will see this here and they would, you know, reach out to you, you know, because I know there's programs, there's people that you can talk to that, you know, deals with this, you know.
And everybody
no one should have to
they
deal
always
with
try
it.
to say, oh, well, she's uncorrigible. She's not uncorrigible. Her triggers is when somebody picks on her or says something to her.
Yes.
And then she runs out of class.
Wow.
You guys know her triggers, so why can't you guys stop them?
Exactly, exactly. You know, that's I feel for you, really. I really do. Young man, what about you? Have you ever been bullied?
Yes.
Really? What happened?
I got jumped.
You got jumped? At your school or at the playground or?
After school. After school, I was going with my friend to pick up a friend. And then I was up for practicing, like, four of the basketball players that was on my team. They came to jump me and my friend.
So did you tell anyone about it?
Yeah, my dad.
Your dad? What about the school authorities, like the principal?
Yeah, I told the principal.
Did they do anything about it? Or?
Yeah, they talked to them and they wrote a paper and stuff and called their parents. And they got suspended for a week.
Oh, okay. Well, my last question would be, what advice would you give to the people that's being bullied and the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give to them? make good choices. Okay. And that goes for both. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. And what about you, young lady? Where are you?
No, answer his question. Answer his question.
What advice, this is the last question, what advice would you give to the people that's being bullied and the people that's doing the bullying? What would you say to them?
I would ask them, do they want to be my friend?
Uh-huh.
So they won't bully me anymore.
Oh, okay. That's smart. That's smart. And what about the people that's being bullied? What would you say to them?
I would say tell them the same thing.
Same thing? Okay. All right, I want to thank all of you, okay, for doing this interview. And hopefully the bullies will see this and they will stop bullying because it's not good. It's not good at all. And hopefully the ones that's being bullied will see it and they'll, reach out and talk to someone. Thank you guys. You guys want to say hi to anybody?
Hi.
Anybody?
What's up?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, here we are at the Millennium store once again. We have 3 youngsters with us, and they're going to share some light on bullying. How do you youngsters feel about bullying?
That it's not supposed to happen because sometimes people bully just because there's like a rate on how popular they are. So they could be like the best, like most popular in school, or like to be like they think that they're the owners of the school and they're like the coolest and stuff. So they just feel like they want to bully so they could be even cooler.
You youngsters, y'all have anything to say?
I think bullying happens because, well, they're broken down within themselves.
Bullying is wrong because you hurt other people.
Okay. Now, have either one of you ever bullied anyone or been bullied while you was attending school? Or just out playing around in your neighborhood?
No.
Okay. Now, the last question. To the people that's out there doing the bullying and the people that's being bullied, what advice would you give to them?
I think they should stop bullying because it's not helping them out in life. It's just gonna, like when they get older, I see that they want to like play around and stuff and try to be funny, but it's not being funny to a lot of people, and they think that they think they're still gonna have fun when they get older, but they're not gonna have fun because the same people in school is not gonna be with them. Most likely, then they're just gonna end up being like on the ground asking for money and not taking school seriously or other places.
Okay. All right. And what advice would you give them?
Well, I would give them advice to saying, why do you bully? How does it help you in life?
Okay. And you young man?
I would ask them why would they be bullying someone if they don't need to, but they don't need to because they're not going to earn any for bullying.
Young man, that was well said, and I appreciate all 3 of you, okay? And any shouts y'all want to give out? Y'all want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Yassi.
That's it? Y'all want to say hi to mom or dad?
Hi,
grandma?
Mom.
Auntie?
Hey, Mom. hey, Dad.
All right, thank you guys, okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, who do we have here?
I'm Leah.
I'm Kiera.
Okay. About the bullying situation here, how do you ladies feel about what's going on as far as people being bullied?
Well, I think bullying is wrong, and a lot of people say that bullying is just people's reaction to how they feel about themselves, so I don't really know if that's right or not, but I don't know. Maybe it is to make them feel better about themselves, but I just think it's wrong in general.
Yeah, I second that. I feel like bullying is definitely a thing that shouldn't be happening now and should never happen. No one should ever have to go through that.
Okay, that sounds right. Have you ladies ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your school years?
Neither.
I've never personally been bullied, but when I was younger, like maybe like I want to say 3rd grade. I was kind of a bully. I was kind of mean to some people, but I don't know. I mean, later on we ended up being friends, so it was okay.
Nothing serious.
Okay, and the last question. What advice would you give to the ones that's been bullying? The ones, being bullied, and the ones that's doing the bullying. What advice would you give to them?
For the ones being bullied, I would say don't just let it happen. Like, the first time it happens, you should tell some kind of adult or someone you trust. And to the people doing the bullying, I would just say stop and try to handle whatever you're going through by doing something else other than bullying.
To add on to that, I guess I'd like to say, like, if you're not going to tell an adult if you're being bullied, at least you can tell your friend, or you could ask, like, a family member and see if they could, like, help you work it out. For those that bully, I guess because I could say I kind of was a bully, it doesn't make you look cool. Like, if you think that's what you're doing when you're bullying someone, it's not making you look cool. It just makes you look stupid. And then once you're an adult, like, it gets old. Like, eventually you might get hurt, or it's just like no one's going to tolerate that anymore. So you might as well stop now.
Well, I would like to thank both of you young ladies. That was well put.
You're welcome.
And hopefully the ones that will be seeing this video, or as the ones being bullied and the ones that's doing the bullying, hopefully they would think twice about it and just not do it, because like you said, it's not cool. And you have so many youngsters as well as adults that's taking their lives behind bullying, and not only that, they're taking other people's lives, and we just need to stop it. And thank you both for your time, okay? Any shouts y'all want to get out?
That's a lot.
I'd like to give a shout out to, my homies back home in Sacramento, Sacktown. I'd like to give it out to those in San Francisco, my grandparents out in Las Vegas, my parents right here.
Get them on camera.
Yeah, get them on camera. Get them on camera. Without them, we wouldn't be possible. That's it.
Do it. Get them on camera.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I can't do it. Okay. How do you feel about bullying, Miss OG?
I don't like bullying. Matter of fact, I'm against bullying. Any kind of bullying, mental, physical, whatever it is. I feel kids keep their hands to themselves. I also feel that anything you have to say to somebody, if it's not positive, you shouldn't say it. And then also, when you do say it, look in the mirror at yourself, because you're really talking about people.
Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your school years?
Yes, I have. I was the queen of school, and I did do a lot of bullying. To this day, I regret it. I used to take people lunch money, they lunches, the whole 9 yards. And today, to look back at what I did, it was not right.
What advice would you give to the people that's being bullied, and at the same time the people that's doing the bullying?
Okay, first of all, the people that's getting bullied, I feel they should notify somebody. Even anything that hurts their feelings or that makes them feel uncomfortable, they should tell somebody. The people that's bullying people, you need to know. Eventually, you bully somebody's going to be bigger, going to bully you. Huh?
Thank you, ma'am. That was right on time. I appreciate it. Any shouts you want to give out?
Shouts to the good Lord, because he got me here.
There you go. Thank you.
Are you frozen?
Hey, Mr. Moose, Millennium Market here. How do you feel about bullying?
I think it's wrong, and I think it should be the person who's bullying should be held responsible.
Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied anyone coming up through your school years?
I've not.
My last question is, what is your advice to the people that's bullying and the people that's been bullied? What advice would you give them?
For the people who've been bullied, they should talk about it. They should let the other people know about the situation, and they should get that resolved. And they should be the family, the schools, and the kids together figure out a way to stop it.
And the ones that's doing the bullying?
Exactly the same way. They should be confirmed, and they should be let know that that's not the right way to go.
Moose, thank you for your time, brother. Appreciate it. We'll love you too. What is your input on the bullying situation that we have going on, not just here, but the bullying that's everywhere?
I'm against it, personally.
even though I haven't been bullied, but I've seen others from my friends being bullied and vice versa. It's something that affects a child throughout their life, growing up, academically, physically, socially. It's interesting on why people bully. You know, maybe it's coming down from family, or it's coming down from them being bullied in the past. I just hope people realize that it's not something that's enjoyable for the other person, and I hope they recognize that down the line, and hopefully look to their role models and get a better light on what bullying is and how bad it is.
Okay. Now you answered 3 other questions, so I might as well go to the last question. What would you say to the people that's being bullied? You already answered it in your answer for the ones that's doing the bullying. What advice would you give the people that's been bullied?
To hold their head up, to realize that it's probably the other person's insecurities and not yours, and to find people, find people's input who are close to you, and see how theirs matter more than the person that's being bullied, and that's bullying you. If you can't confront it and solve it the first way.
Mr. Solomon, I want to thank you for that, and that's why I vote you as the next president.
Thank you.
I wish we could put you on camera, but since you say no, I'm going to respect that.
Thanks
a million, and like I said, you answered 3 questions in one. You know, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. No problem.
Any shouts out you want to get to anybody?
Yep. To you.
All
Sure.
right.
Thank you
Thanks,
for doing
Mr.
something positive.
Thank you. All right, we're here in San Ramon at Easy Liquor Store with my buddy Andrew. Andrew, what do you feel about the bullying situation?
I feel it's not a good idea to bully children and any age of the people, and it's not good for them, as well as it doesn't look on our character too. It doesn't look good. If I bully some children, it doesn't look good on my character.
Okay.
So I don't like that.
Okay, have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied coming up to your school years?
Yeah, not too much, but sometimes yes, and I don't feel like it's good.
Okay, last question. What advice would you give the people that's out there bullying, and the people that's been bullied? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say keep a positive attitude and try to deal with the people and try to confront them and try to give them the answer whatever they say, and be positive so they will never come back to you.
Okay, Andrew, I want to thank you, man. I appreciate it, and hopefully this footage will encourage the ones that's being bullied to speak up and seek help, come forward. And the ones that's bullying, maybe they'll get a bar of this and they'll stop doing it. Thanks a million, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, this is young Daniel. Young Daniel. He's a youngster, and he's going to give you guys a little insight on bullying. Okay, Daniel, how do you feel about bullying? Speak up. Speak up.
Mad sad.
Mad sad? Okay, what do that mean? Can you explain that? Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been bullied?
No.
Have you ever bullied somebody at your school? You did? How did that make you feel? Did you like doing it? Did you like bullying?
No.
How do you think the other person felt?
Bad.
I can't hear you. Hold your head up.
Bad.
Bad? Would you do it again? Okay. If you had something to say to the people that's being bullied or the people that's bullying, someone, what would you say to the people that's being bullied? The people that's being bullied, what would you say to them?
Tell them to tell or walk away.
Okay. Now, what would you say to the person that's bullying people? What would you tell them? Stop bullying? Okay. Thanks, Daniel. We appreciate that, okay? Anybody you want to say hi to? You want to say hi to anybody? I don't know. Anybody. Family members? Your mom? Because this is going to be on YouTube. Everybody's going to see it. You don't want to say hi to nobody? You don't want to say hi, Mom? You don't want to say stop bullying because it's not nice?
Bye-bye. I'm leaving this.
How do you feel about the bullying situation that's going on around here and everywhere else?
I don't like it.
I think it's just time. You know, we got kids and stuff. They gotta live in it.
Okay. And Karina, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I don't really approve of it because I know people that has been bullied, and I don't think it's right.
What would you say to the people out there? No. Secondly, have you ever been bullied or have you ever bullied anyone throughout your school years or just coming up?
I would say I kind of bullied somebody before, unintentionally. When I realized that it was bullying, I kind of nipped it in the butt. But other than that, no. And yes, I have been bullied when I was in middle school.
CJ?
Bullied, been bullied, I guess you could say. You know, my hair wouldn't be down or something. People talk about it. It never hurt me, I don't care. Bullied, a lot of ugly people I've seen, I told them. I guess that's a form of bullying.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something, both of you. For the people that's being bullied and the people that's doing the bullying, what advice would y'all give to them?
Stop it.
Yeah, because you never know what someone else has been through, what they're going through, their story, and I don't think it's okay to bully anyone because you're not perfect.
The bully could be suicidal, he could be a murderer. You don't know. Or the one being bullied.
Yeah. You just never know someone's situation to actually talk or bully them, basically.
For the ones that's afraid to speak out and seek help, you know, to let people know that they're being bullied, what would y'all say to them?
Fight back.
Stand up for yourself. I think that's the only way that you could have somebody not bully you unless you call the police or something. I mean, stand up for yourself. People bully people who can't defend themselves. So that's what I would say. That or get in contact with some type of authority. I would say, depending on how far it goes.
That was well said. I want to thank you both for your input, and hopefully the people that's being bullied as well as the people that's doing the bullying, they will see this video and they would think twice about it. You know, the ones that's being bullied, seek out, reach out to someone and get help. Tell someone, don't hold it in, because you end up taking your life or maybe taking someone else's life. And for the ones that's bullying, like they said, stop, because one day you're going to bully the wrong person and they're going to end up taking your life. And no one wins. Everybody loses. Well, thank you guys both, okay? Appreciate it. Any shouts out?
Shout out to more
Stop the violence.
Stop the violence.
All right. Sounds like a winner. Okay, this is young Daniel. Young Daniel. He's a youngster. And he's going to give you guys a little insight on bullying. Okay, Daniel, how do you feel about bullying? Speak up. Speak up.
Mad sad.
Mad sad? Okay, what do that mean? Can you explain that one? Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been bullied?
No.
Have you ever bullied somebody at your school? You did? How did that make you feel? Did you like doing it? Did you like bullying?
No.
How do you think the other person felt?
Bad.
I can't hear you. Hold your head up.
Bad.
Bad? Would you do it again? Okay. If you had something to say to the people that's being bullied or the people that's bullying someone, what would you say to the people that's being bullied?
Wait.
The people that's being bullied, what would you say to them?
Tell them to tell or walk away.
Okay. Now, what would you say to the person that's bullying people? What would you tell them?
Bullying.
Stop bullying? Okay. Thanks, Daniel. We appreciate that, okay? Anybody you want to say hi to? You want to say hi to anybody? I don't know. Anybody. Family members? Your mom? Because this is going to be on YouTube. Everybody's going to see it. You don't want to say hi to nobody? You don't want to say hi, Mom? You don't want to say stop bullying because it's not nice?
Bye-bye. I'm leaving this.
How do you feel about the bullying that's going on, not just here in Fairfield, but Oakland as well and other cities? It's all over. How do you feel about that?
I think it's wrong.
Speak up.
I think it's wrong. My daughter's starting to be a bully too, and I don't like it. Isn't that right, Shalette? Tell you all the time, be nice to people, be fair. I learned my lesson. I used to be a bully. I used to bully some people I know in this room. Wasn't cool. They do hit back eventually. You won't bully them forever. That's all I got to say.
How do you feel about the bullying that's going on?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Just speak up. It's okay. You don't like it? What don't you like about it?
That they be mean to you.
Huh?
That they be mean to you.
Okay. Let me ask, how do you feel about the bullying, young lady? You don't know? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you ladies ever bullied anyone or ever been bullied by someone?
Yes, and yes. I had a friend. She's still my friend. I wasn't that nice to her when we was in middle school. I invited her to walk to the store with us when we all had bikes and she didn't. And I was wrong. But we're still friends, though. I apologize for that.
What about?
Oh yeah, I got bullied in 6th grade. I used to get bullied. I had no friends. I still don't have friends, but I'm not getting bullied now. But I got bullied in 6th grade about me being a foster kid.
How did that affect you?
I used to sing in the grass, so yeah. Enough said. By myself.
What about you, young lady? Have you ever bullied or been bullied? No. Another question. If y'all had advice, if you had some advice to give the people out there that's been bullied or the people that's out there bullying, what would y'all say to them?
That if they're bullying people, then,
Speak up, speak up.
that if they're bullying people, then they might know the other people.
Would you want them to stop bullying people?
Yeah.
And what about the people that's being bullied? Would you want them to talk to someone? Because a lot of time it's like the people that's being bullied, they're afraid to speak out and ask for help. And so what we need is for them to not be afraid and tell someone, because you have so many children that's committing suicide behind it or going to kill others behind it. And we really need to get a grip on it, and stop it. What would you say to them, Keela?
Which one, the bullier?
The one that's bullying and the one that's being bullied.
Let's be honest. Stick up for yourself. It doesn't last forever. And I honestly feel like if I have to be real, it's worse now. You can't go tell your teacher like you used to. These teachers are getting younger and younger, like, every day. They're close to our ages now. And some of them not mature enough yet. They're just not there. If you ask me. I know teachers just my age.
That's interesting that you say that. That you don't want to tell the teachers because they're not going to do anything about it. You feel?
Sometimes, like most of the time, no, not really.
Okay.
Nothing happens until you shouldn't have to threaten the teacher's job. You shouldn't have to threaten them. It should just happen. Some schools you gotta do that. You gotta threaten the teacher. You gotta threaten their job. It should get handled the first time, and then it don't help when some parents help the kids bully nowadays, because once again the parents are younger now than what it used to be, so the maturity is just not there.
Okay. That was well put. What about you, young lady? How do you feel about people bullying other people? Have you ever been bullied by anyone? Have you ever bullied anyone? No. Okay. Alrighty. I want to thank you all. And that's a wrap for this one. Okay, we have Young Century here. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about people that's bullying other people at your school, or just people bullying people, period? Have you, at your school, have you been bullied, or have you bullied?
7th graders.
By a 7th grader? How do you feel about that?
I just annoyed him.
You just ignored him?
Mm-hmm.
Did he stop?
He told his friends that called me ugly and all that other stuff.
Say that a little louder.
Called me ugly and all the other stuff.
Well, what advice would you give the people that's doing the bullying?
Tell an adult or tell a principal, somebody that's outside or inside.
And what advice would you give to people that being bullied, that's doing the bullying?
To stop, or else you get suspended or stuff in school.
Okay. All right. Because nowadays you have some people that's afraid to reach out for help, and they just go along with it, and eventually they either commit suicide or end up killing someone else. So for everybody that's out there listening, watching, if you're bullying, stop, because one day someone's going to stick up for themselves and the outcome may not be so nice. And if you're being bullied, don't be afraid to go to an adult or your principal and talk to someone about it, because that's not something that you want to have to face every day. Thanks, Century. You were great. I appreciate everything. And until the next time. Okay, I'm here with my neighbor, Mr. Martez. Subject, no more bullying. How do you feel about the bullying that's going on, not just here in Oakland, but it's kind of like everywhere now?
Yeah, bullying is a horrible thing. Sometimes it's normal, sometimes it'll happen just like teasing, you know, bigger guy or bigger guys or girls teasing, you know, smaller kids, and it's not such a big deal. But sometimes it, you know, it starts to get this thing where these kids pick every day or every week on this one kid or on these two kids, and then that kid starts to, their whole life starts to revolve around that. He'll wait till those other kids leave so he doesn't take that street, or he won't go to that park, or he won't do this sport anymore, or he's afraid to go to that neighborhood, and it becomes a nightmare. And so what might seem for someone like they're just having fun, they're just teasing a kid, can end up being a real nightmare for the kid being teased. So I think it's a horrible thing, and I know sometimes, you know, it'll get kids to be depressed, it'll change their behavior, it'll make them not want to go to school. It can be do a lot of harm to people.
Okay.
Yeah, and I realized that sometimes it's not just physical bullying, it's like emotionally bullying. Like a lot of girls, for example, get emotionally bullied more than physically bullied for like how they look or who they are or what they're wearing, and it's all really superficial, and it's really like at such a tender, like young, like early teenage era. It's girls are really fragile, like forming into their own bodies, into their own personalities, into their newly found womanhood, and it just like breaks them in the very beginning. Just like get attacked by other women, other like girls like them. So that's also a form of bullying that is, for me, like very damaging as well.
Now, a question to both of you. Have you ever been bullied, or have you ever bullied while coming up through your childhood, going to school, or not?
I think I've had a little of that like mean girl bullying. It was under control, but I still have to like deal with a lot of things that were told to me, and a lot of it had to do with weight or how I looked, and I was yo-yo dieting forever, so like it carried on for decades afterwards. And so yeah, I have experienced some psychological bullying.
Have you bullied anyone?
Martez?
Only him.
You just bullied me. Hi.
Well, you know, the women, they bully us all the time.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I need help. Somebody help me.
There's no hotline for that.
I remember teasing a friend, like a family friend who was just as old as my younger brother. And I remember at some point I started like really getting into just like giving this kid a hard time. And there was one moment when I realized he was getting really sick of it, and that he was getting really frustrated. And it struck me that like I might be actually hurting this kid and really upsetting him. And it just woke me up, and I just like stopped giving this guy a hard time. So that's the one time I remember myself kind of getting into that.
Okay.
And I do have memories of myself being bullied, being physically bullied. It was never much of a problem for me, just because I had enough of a sense of my own value and that like I was cool, I was busy with my life as a kid, so there's nothing anyone could tell me that would really hurt me.
Yes.
They could tell me stuff, I'd just be like, you're mean. You're mean because you're trying to be really hurtful.
Right.
But like, I'm not believing any of that stuff. Not because I'm strong, but just because there's stuff going on in my life that I already know there's some value there. But the physical bullying, that for me was what was frustrating for a time, because I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was scared. And what changed that for me is when I started learning some martial arts. It didn't make me violent, but it just meant that like I wasn't in the dark. Like I knew that like, you know, even if a guy's stronger than me, I knew I could at least stay standing.
Right.
He didn't get me in a headlock and just walk around all afternoon in a headlock, which is what bullies would do to smaller guys like me. So just learning those things meant that it wasn't something I was afraid of anymore. And it also meant that when I did fight back, for example, and let those bullies know that like he could get hurt if he hurt me, that just sort of gave them a sense of consequences. This is real. You're hurting someone who can hurt you back.
Right.
And that just ended the story. Because sometimes I think they just needed a wake-up call that I was a real person.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's it.
You know, that kind of reminds me of a time when I was in elementary school, you know, and I was being bullied, you know, and it's like once I socked the guy back, he didn't bully me anymore, you know, because he seen that I would stand up for myself, even though I knew I couldn't whoop him. I guess his thing was, as long as you allow me to bully you, I'm going to bully you.
It's easy and fun, yeah.
Yes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, the last and final question. What advice would both of you have for the people that's getting bullied and also the people that's doing the bullying? What advice would you give to them?
I just think of like what I would tell like my kids, for example. I would tell my kids like if someone hits you, hit them back. You know, this is not. I'm not for like, oh, I need to tell my teacher or my parent. Like this is one-on-one. It makes it simple. Like I just take what I need right now. But also like I would remind them that no one's better than you.
Right.
No one has power over you, and that no one has the right to disrespect you or to make you feel bad, because nobody has hierarchy over you, so nobody can make you feel bad, because if you feel bad, then they feel bad. And
exactly.
So that's what I would say. And when it comes to like those like other psychological bullying kind of thing, I would also say like not to be fazed by it, and that girls have phases they go through where they're insecure and they bring out their insecurity on other girls. And same for guys, like it's just like more of a physical thing, I guess. And I'm not saying that girls don't bully physically, but it's more prevalent that guys do more and physically bully.
Yes.
So yeah, just like don't feel like you're less than anyone. Don't feel like you deserve it. Okay. Nothing in you is gives you qualities of a victim.
That's well said.
So I would tell the people getting bullied that it's important for them to do what they do in order to feel safe. And I think it's actually generally a very healthy thing for everyone to know their own body and to know how to use it.
Yes.
Because what that does, it doesn't create more violence, it actually creates less violence. When you know how to stop someone from hurting you, that just makes less fights, less bullying happen.
Right.
So, and it also boosts confidence incredibly, and it's also lots of fun to learn wrestling or boxing or judo or all these things. I think those are great things to learn in life in general, and they really help to reduce the trouble that comes with bullying. And also, especially with the psychological bullying, to really sort of check in and see and remember that your life isn't how the bullies say. So the bullies will stand outside, you know, your beautiful palace that's your life, and they'll aim at the little glass window and they'll shatter it.
Right.
You know, and like that's not. They'll pick on this one thing in you that they see as a weak point.
Exactly.
That's a non-issue. It's always important to remember they're looking for my weak spots. I'm not upset about my weak spots.
Right.
I have this whole life, this whole story going on,
Mhm.
and that's important to remember. And to the person bullying, I think I'll just say it's important for them to recognize that there are real consequences, and that harming another person, making another person's life is no joke, it's no entertainment.
Right.
But more importantly, it's not just about the person being bullied and the person bullying. It's the whole community. Because it's the community that suffers.
Mhm.
This is why, this is why we're having this conversation. Because it's the whole community that's saying, we have a problem.
Right.
So because we have a problem, we have a role. I'm not being bullied, and I'm not bullying anyone, but I have a role.
Right.
What's my role? To make sure everyone's having this conversation, and to make sure that kids, or whoever, even adults,
Right.
are always around a space where they feel safe to name those things, and where potential bullies are discouraged by messing with that,
Mhm.
because they know that people take that stuff really seriously. If you're someone who wants to have some fun, give this kid a hard time, but you know that parents are watching,
Yes.
other kids are watching, the older
Right.
kids are watching,
Right.
teachers are watching, neighbors and grandmas are watching,
Right.
you know to just be like, hey, I'm kidding. That's what matters. So having more conversations and really supporting young kids to name and to say when they're not comfortable. Because sometimes a kid be like, I can't go tell them I'm being bullied. I'm like, cool. I can't tell my dad I'm being bullied. He'll feel sorry for me. He'll think I'm a wimp. I have to be strong. So I just have to take it. That's a problem. So it's the community's role to make sure nothing stays hidden, and that the bullies are afraid to be bullies.
There you go. That was well put. I want to thank you, Martez.
Thank
I
you
want
for
to
doing
thank you,
this.
Miss Mariam. Thank you. Thank you both for your time. And hopefully when the, not just the youngsters, but the elderly, because like you said, we do have elderly people out there being bullied and elderly people bullying. And I mentioned this earlier today where they just had on the news where a guy was neighbors with some people for over 20 years. And this guy had been bullying them, bullying the lady, and she has a disabled, I believe, daughter. Maybe there was son, but however, the person was disabled, and he bullied them for so long they went to the authorities. And what the judge did was he made the guy wear a sign out in front of his house saying, I am a bully, and I have been bullying my neighbors for such and such a period of time, and I'm sorry. And he also gave him 8 days in city or county jail. So maybe something like that would have a person thinking twice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once they see this video, maybe I can sort of put a damper on the bullying, because it's not going to just stop just like that.
What's been happening? Why is it? What's been happening? Has it been on the increase, or is it in schools?
It has been an increase. As you know, we just had the youngster go to school with not one knife but 2 knives.
When?
And this here happened maybe about a week ago.
Oh, and the one who
With
stabbed a
2
bunch of
knives,
people?
and
Oh,
he
yeah.
stabbed a bunch of people.
This is in the Midwest.
Yes, back east or somewhere, and it's just crazy, and where people thought they didn't have bullying, they're starting to have it. It's everywhere now. And we need to really get a grip on it, you know what I mean? Because you have people taking their own lives. Like the little girl was getting bullied and she took her life. And you have people taking other people's lives, and if we don't address it, if we just turn our heads like it's not existing, then it'll never be anything done about it. And one way to start is to talk about it. You know, do videos. You know, put it on TV. You know, put it on the internet. They have everything else on the internet. You know, and maybe that would help us, you know, control it. You know, we want to stop it, but we have to start somewhere. You know, and if we can control it, then eventually we'll be able to stop it.
Yeah, and also one more thing, like, I'm thinking we always think of the person being bullied as the subject,
Mhm.
when the bully himself is always like this unknown, transparent, like creature that nobody really like addresses formally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like for someone to start inflicting pain or hurt on someone, this person like needs help more than anything. They don't need to be like before they start damaging other people, they should be like healed themselves.
Right.
So instead of like actually like pointing fingers on who's bad and who's not, like the bully is as much a victim of society as much as the person being bullied.
Exactly.
So it's a circle, really. It's a cycle.
And it's sort of like he's crying out, or she, whoever it may be, is crying out for help, for attention, you know, but they're afraid to go and ask for it because they figure we're going to point the finger at them. Oh, you're a bad person. You shouldn't be there. Bullying is a disease. I'll put it like that. Bullying is a disease. And they have people that can help you with it if you reach out for it. You know, don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you take someone's life or someone take your life. And then it's time for everybody to start saying, oh, wow, well, we should have did this or we should have did that. You know, let's address it now because it's everywhere. And that's pretty much it. And like I said, I want to thank you both for your time and your input.
Thank you.
Any shouts out y'all want to give?
Well, everyone.
Okay.
High five to everyone.